Everyone's still preaching Amazon FBA like it's the ultimate path to freedom in 2025. But here's the truth nobody tells you. According to Jungle Scout, over 80% of new FBA sellers never make it past year one. They're losing money on ads, buried in competition, and stuck playing by Amazon's ever-changing rules, while Amazon itself launches copycat products and takes a bigger piece of the pie. But there's a smarter, more profitable way to win in a product-based business, one that doesn't rely on fighting for clicks or pleasing an algorithm. It's called private label wholesale, and it mirrors the same brand strategy used by major retailers like Walmart, Costco, and Amazon, who've built powerful private label empires. But instead of selling on their platforms, you build your own brand and use wholesale distribution to place your products directly into retail stores where customers are already shopping. Today, we're going head-to-head, Amazon FBA versus wholesale. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what actually makes money in 2025 and why this model beats FBA every time. Welcome to Smart Money Vids. With over 33 years of real-world business experience, this series is dedicated to helping you build a successful wholesale distribution business without relying on Amazon, Shopify, or complicated e-commerce platforms. If you've spent any time on YouTube or social media, you've probably heard the same pitch over and over. Start Amazon FBA, find a trending product, ship it to Amazon's warehouse, and let the platform do the rest. They make it sound like a plug-and-play system for passive income. Low effort, low risk, high reward. But here's the part they don't talk about, that so-called winning product you're supposed to find. Thousands of other sellers are using the exact same research tools, like Helium 10 and Jungle Scout, looking at the same data, chasing the same trends, and flooding the exact same product categories. So by the time you identify the opportunity, it's already saturated. You're not ahead of the curve. You're one of hundreds, maybe thousands, launching the same thing. And then the real grind begins. You have to pay for ads just to get seen. You're running discounts, giveaways, influencer campaigns, just to compete with sellers who got there a few months earlier. And all of that comes out of your pocket before you even break even. But it gets worse. You're not just competing with other sellers, you're competing with Amazon itself. Amazon tracks what's selling well on its platform, and if your product gains traction, don't be surprised if they create their own version, undercut your price, and feature it at the top of the search results above yours. It's like building your business on rented land, and your landlord becomes your competitor. This is the side of FBA they don't show in the ads, and it's the reality that causes most new sellers to quietly walk away within 12 months. Amazon FBA isn't just a crowded playing field anymore, it's a battlefield. And in 2025, it's tougher than ever for new sellers to survive, let alone scale. Let's break down why. First, the cost to get seen has exploded. In 2024 alone, Amazon earned over $47 billion in ad revenue, and it wasn't from big brands. It was from individual sellers fighting for visibility. In many categories, the average cost per click is now over $2 to $3. So if you're not spending money on ads, you're invisible. And if you are spending money, you're often burning through cash just to stay on page one. Second, saturation is real and fast-moving. Tools like Helium 10 and Jungle Scout help you find product opportunities, but here's the problem. Thousands of other sellers are using the exact same tools, chasing the exact same data, and launching the same products every single day. According to Helium 10, in 2023, over 2,000 new listings were launched daily in the top categories like home, beauty, and health. That means what looks like a winning product today could be a price war tomorrow. Third, customers are more informed and more skeptical. They're comparison shopping, looking for trusted brands, and in many cases, choosing Amazon's own private label products. And Amazon has over 100 of those now, quietly dominating search results. If your product gains traction, there's always the risk Amazon will release their own version, undercut your price, and feature it above yours. But the biggest issue isn't competition, it's control. When you sell through FBA, you don't own your traffic, you don't own your customer, and you don't make the rules. Amazon does. They control the search rankings. They set the fees. They can hold your funds, suspend your listings, or change their policies without warning and without recourse. I've seen sellers lose their entire business overnight. Not because they did something wrong, but because they built their income on someone else's platform. That's not leverage, that's dependency. And for most new sellers entering FBA in 2025, it's a losing game before they even know they're playing. Now that you've seen why FBA isn't what it used to be, let's shift gears. I want to show you the business model I've personally used for over 3 decades, one that's quietly powered some of the most successful product brands in the world. It's called private label wholesale, and it works because it puts you in control. Here's how it works. Instead of selling someone else's brand, competing with hundreds of similar products, or trying to out-hustle Amazon on its own turf, you create your own product line, give it your own brand, and sell it directly to retailers who already have traffic and customers. That means you're not spending thousands on ads just to get seen. You're not begging for reviews or trying to manipulate rankings. You're not running giveaways or promotions just to get momentum. Most people think Amazon FBA is a set-it-and-forget-it system. They picture it as passive income on autopilot with little to no work involved. But the reality is constant stress, rising expenses, daily ad tweaks, and constant monitoring of metrics, reviews, returns, and inventory performance. It's anything but passive, and it's far from predictable. With private label wholesaling, it's a different game. Once your product is placed in a store, it sells consistently, without the daily grind of ads, reviews, or algorithm shifts. Retailers reorder when they're low, and over time, those accounts become reliable income streams you can count on. And here's what really separates this model. You're not building a business around a platform. You're building a business around relationships, with store owners and retail chains who actually carry your product and reorder consistently. That means more repeat orders, more predictable income, and far less stress. No ad accounts to manage, no policy changes to worry about, no scrambling to explain to a chatbot why your listing was removed. And you don't need to be a giant corporation to do this. I started small, working from home with a single product and a phone line. You don't need a warehouse, you don't need staff, you don't need to be tech savvy. What you need is a solid product, a smart presentation, and a system to get it into the right hands. This is the model that's worked for decades, and it's still working right now in 2025. Just look at how the biggest retailers operate. Companies like Costco, Walmart, and Target build massive profits through their own private label brands. Kirkland Signature, Great Value, and Up and Up. These products aren't viral or trendy. They're consistent, and they move in huge volume because they sit on store shelves where customers are already shopping. Now here's where it gets interesting. As an independent seller, you can use the same private label approach, but instead of selling through your own chain of stores, you use wholesale distribution to place your product into existing retail outlets. You don't need to own a storefront. You don't need to run a marketplace. You just need to get your product into stores already serving your target customers. That's the power of private label wholesale, brand ownership with built-in retail traffic. While everyone else is chasing passive income and fighting in saturated marketplaces, this is the path the smartest companies have quietly followed for years. At the heart of it all, the biggest difference between Amazon FBA and private label wholesale comes down to 2 things: control and leverage. When you build your business on Amazon, you don't control the platform. You rent space on it. Amazon owns the traffic. Amazon sets the rules. And Amazon can change the game overnight. They can hold your funds, suspend your listings, even shut down your account, sometimes without warning. You're building a house on someone else's land. But with private label wholesale, you're in control. You choose the product. You create the brand. You decide where it's sold and who you sell to. And you suggest the retail price. And instead of relying on one platform or algorithm, you're building relationships with multiple retailers who order again and again. That gives you leverage. You're not begging for sales. You're fulfilling purchase orders. You're not competing for clicks. you're occupying shelf space. And you're not chasing the next trend. You're building a long-term, sellable business that grows on your terms. That's what real business freedom looks like, and that's what most people never get from Amazon FBA. For over 30 years, I've built my business using private label wholesale, starting with one product, one retail customer, and a phone. I didn't rely on Amazon. I didn't open a storefront. Instead, I sold directly to retailers, loading my van with product, visiting stores in person, and building real relationships. I focused on identifying high-demand products, the kind people actually use every day, and branding them under my own private label. I created clean, professional packaging, built a brand around consistency and quality, and offered my products to stores that already had loyal customers. The beauty of private label wholesale is that there's no need to create a product from scratch. You're taking a proven, in-demand product and marketing it under your own brand name. That gives you exclusivity, and once your brand is promoted and known, you're not really competing with anyone else. Think about it like Coke and Pepsi. Same type of product, but some people will always prefer one over the other. That's the power of branding. No gimmicks, just real selling, focused on value, trust, and long-term relationships. When a store liked the product, they ordered. When it sold, they reordered. And over time, those reorders turned into long-term accounts. That's how I grew, one relationship at a time. Today, I still run my business with the same model. I work just 2 days a week, and my products are sold in retail stores across the country, supported by targeted ads that drive customers directly to those retailers. This isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not passive income on autopilot. It's a real business that creates leverage, flexibility, and time freedom. The things most people are chasing when they turn to models like Amazon FBA. And the best part? It's more accessible than people think. If you're tired of chasing saturated side hustles and want to build something real, start by learning the model that actually works. This video is part of our Foundation series, where we break down why wholesale distribution beats Amazon FBA and how you can start your own product-based business from home without relying on platforms you don't control. And if you want to go deeper, I've created a free Wholesale Starter Kit that gives you a beginner-friendly checklist, tips on pricing and margins, a proven method for finding wholesale buyers, even if you've never sold a product before. Just comment Wholesale Starter Kit below, and I'll send you the link for free. And if you're serious about building long-term income, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because the next video is going to show you exactly how to start a wholesale distribution business step by step. At Smart Money Vids, we turn real-world business knowledge into action. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.